Okay, so welcome to our first video of HTML CSS. So today we are going to learn how to create a website. Okay, we need to look at the fundamentals and the basics of how to create a website. So I think what we are going to do, we are going to first of all create a folder that we are going to work with. But before that, let us have a look at this simple documentation that I came up with. First of all, we need to understand what HTML is. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the standard markup language for creating web pages. It describes the structure of a web page. It consists of a series of elements. HTML elements tell the browser how to display the content. Okay, and then they're saying it helps elements label pieces of content, such as this is a heading, this is a paragraph, this is a link, etc. Now, basically what we are going to do today, we are going to see some of the text editors that are used in programming. We have a variety of them, but the choice is yours because we have a number of text editors that we use when programming. These are the tools we are going to use when creating our websites. So the very first one, we have a Visual Studio Code. This one I have it on the screen, as you can see. So we are going to work with. This is the one that is mostly used today. It is the most commonly used programming editor, text editor. But of course, we also have others. We have as well Sublime Text. Now for Sublime Text, we have different versions. We have the first one, we have the second, Sublime Text 2, 3. Okay, then we also have Notepad. Notepad, for it looks like this. Notepad, it is also one of the tools that are used in programming, but it's rarely used these days, though it is one of the text editors that are used. Then we also have its cousin, Notepad++. I don't know whether I have it on my machine. No, of course I don't have it here. But we also have Notepad++. Yes, I have it. It's here. Notepad++. So these are some of the tools that are used in programming. So on my side, we shall use Visual Studio Code because it has a very good conducive environment. But of course, the choice is yours for what you want to use when trying to program. So we are going to go ahead and create our folder. So I'm going to right click on the screen and then look for folder. Let's call it a website. Okay, let's call it website. When you're done with that, you open on it. Click on it, you open. Yeah, so when you open, before even, in fact, without even opening it, we can close that. Let us just left click on it, then you right click. Then let us go to show more options. Now, right now I'm using Windows 11, that's why you have all this coming up. But if you're using Windows 10, you'll have this menu appearing on the screen right away. So you'll go ahead and look for Open with Code. Okay, if you have this setup, VS Code, you click on it. Yes, trust these authors. So this is our environment that we are going to work with. So as you can see, we have our folder here, website. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and we come up with, we need to create some files within our website. Okay, now we have this environment. If you want to create a file, you come with your arrow pointer. Using this, it's saying new file, so you click on it. Then we shall, since it's the initial page we are starting with to write our code, so we shall say index.html. So take note of this file extension, it's very important. Index.html, it is very important. That's how we are going to be having our This is where we are going to write from our code. So you need to have that file extension with you. So you press enter. You press enter, it will create our file. So just know that we have this within our what folder. Okay, when you go back to our setup here, you can see the file has already been what created. So let's head back to our software. Then what we are going to do, look at your keyboard and then look for that, put there an exclamation mark. I think let me try to make this bigger such that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I think this is better. So on your keyboard, exclamation mark, hold on. Okay, I think that's better. So I'm going to, when you press the exclamation mark, press tab. When you press tab, it will bring this whole documentation in front of your screen. Let me zoom back a bit. So it will bring this automatically, this HTML structure. But we need to know what it means, what they do, okay? What they represent in our documentation. So first of all, you need to save this. Ctrl S to save, or you may click File to save and then you click Save. So the choice is yours. Yeah, so you need to save your document. Now, first of all, the document type, this one, what it means it specifies the type of document. This one, doc type, specifies the type of document. So let me try to open let's go back to our folder here that has website. Let's try to open this document. Currently, the default browser that we are using is Internet Explorer, but then I think I'm going to use Chrome preferably. Chrome is a bit, I prefer Chrome. So open Chrome. So set this as your default browser. I think let me set it as my default browser. But why should I do it right now? Let me not do it right now. Let me just go ahead. So you see, this is the environment we are going to work with. Of course, right now there's nothing on the screen, but let's go back to our document here, our text editor. So we have the HTML tag. Okay, now this one for it comes after the doc type. It starts an HTML document. Okay, it starts an HTML document. Here the language, here they're trying to mean it's going to be English, the language of the what? It's going to be what? Something readable and understandable. Of course, it will be in English. Then we have the head. We have the head tag as well. This one for it contains general information about the HTML document, such as the title. Okay, such as the title. This is the title that it will have. Don't mind about this. The meta character set. This one, it's if you have seen, if you look at Microsoft Word, you notice that we have what we call font types. So this one will cater for the font. Then this one for it is for compatibility. Okay, the content you are going to place within the browser, it's going to be compatible. That means it will work, it will display. Okay, then this is the initial scale. So don't mind about this. This one is not that important, but we also need it as well. So we have the title. We have said the head tag normally has the title. Okay, so this one for it, what it does, it specifies the title of the document, of the HTML page. Sorry, specifies the title of the HTML page. Now, where it is shown, if you go back to our document, it's here, document. If I change this to, let's say, my website, let's type here and say my website, and you save that, Ctrl S. When you go back here and you refresh, you can see this on the screen. It has changed. When you refresh, it will change this to my website. So it specifies the title for the HTML page. So it will appear in the title bar. This is it, the title bar. So then we have the body tag. For it contains headings. We shall place their headings, paragraphs, images, links, hyperlinks, tables, lists. We shall look at that later on. Then we shall also have we have also, yeah, I think that is it. That is it for now. So by default, this is what we have looked at for now. So we are going to look at now what we call HTML documents. Yeah, HTML. So I think let's start with the headings. Let's start with the headings. So if you are starting with the headings now, we have what we call so these HTML headings, they are defined with H1 and H2 tags. Okay, let me show you something here. So in the body tag, where we are going to place from our information, let me try to zoom this a bit. So if I press H1 and you press tab, it will bring this for you automatically. Okay, but now we also need to have something else. But before maybe doing anything else, let me type something else. Say this is a heading. When I save that, then we go back to our browser. You refresh, it will bring the information. This is a heading. Okay, you can see now it's appearing for the first time. So this is something great. Yeah, but we have the headings. We have like 6 heading tags. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and then I paste. So without you even highlighting this, you can just simply leave your cursor where it is. You press Ctrl+C, then you press Ctrl+Enter. Now when you press Ctrl+Enter, it's going to take you to the next line without you coming here and you do this. Okay, so you can even just come here, even if you are within your code. You press Ctrl+C, then you press Ctrl+Enter. It has taken me down as soon as possible. So I'll press Ctrl+V, and then I need to have like 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 of them. When you save that and you go back, you refresh, you can see there are 6 appearing here. But we need to change this. We need to make this H2 tag. We have H3 tag. We have 4. We have 5. Then we have 6. So when you save that, we go back, we refresh. You can see there is a huge difference with the screen. Let me try to zoom this a bit. Hope you are seeing that. So you can see it keeps on reducing up to this very size. So we have H1 to H6. So there's a huge difference. So those are HTML headings. That's how they are written. Then we have HTML paragraphs. So let me say, maybe before you proceed, we have what we call a comment. A comment will help you to remember what code you are typing. Okay, when you press Ctrl ? on your keyboard, you can see these green tags appearing on the screen. That's why you place your comment. Now this comment will not affect the HTML browser. So let's call these headings. It has to be green. Now you call it headings like that. Okay, now even if you save and you go back, you refresh, you will see nothing appearing on the screen. Why? It's simply a comment. If I come, I highlight this code, line of code, and then I press Ctrl ? I make it a comment. You can also comment it out. When you comment it out, it will disappear from the browser. When I refresh, you can see it has vanished. It has vanished, but it's still here within my line of what code. So let me put it back such that we have it back in place. So this one will make us recall what we are doing. Headings. So we are going to look at also paragraphs. So paragraphs, Ctrl ? I'll call this paragraphs. So also look at paragraphs. So I save that. Now for paragraphs, we have the p tag, the paragraph tag. I call it the p tag. So they're defined with the p tag. So I'll say p tab. Okay, p tab, and they will appear. When it appears, I think I'm going to just copy this and say this is a paragraph, something like that. So this is a paragraph. Okay. When I save that, let's go back to our document. Yeah, it's here this below. Let me zoom out so you can see we have it is here. This is a what? A paragraph. So paragraphs in HTML, you should use the p tag. Yeah, so even if you have more than one paragraph, you copy that. Let me paste that here. This is another paragraph. Save that, refresh. You see it appearing below the screen. Now I think it's going down a bit. Let me try to comment this out as well, because we need to have our content appearing on the screen. So press Ctrl. I'll comment it out. Don't comment it out. Yours, you can leave it there. Me, I'm commenting it out such that you can see what is on the screen. I refresh. This will vanish, but because I've commented this out. So a paragraph, this is how you write a paragraph. Then we also have what we call, you want to create a horizontal rule, like a ruler. A rule should appear from this end to this end. So within the body, we shall use the HR tag for the horizontal rule. So horizontal rule, we shall use the HR tag. Yeah, HR tag will put a rule. So when I save that and then we head back to our browser, refresh, you will see it appearing on the screen, the horizontal rule. So we have that as well. You can even place it here, and I copy this, I place it somewhere here, then I save that, I go back, I refresh, so it will come here. So it's because I've placed it here. So that's how the rule works. Okay, then we also have what we call, if you want to bold your text as well, if you want to bold your text, right now I think bolding the text, we are going to go down here, bolding text. So to bold the text, we shall use the B tag. Okay, we shall use the B tag. So I'll press B, and then I'll say this text is bold. Save that. We refresh. We have it. You can see it's thick. Okay, it's kind of thick. Now let's say you want to bold this paragraph. You want to make it thick. So what you do, you use the B tag as well. The only difference is that we have the paragraph here. So I want to just copy this, cut that out. Ctrl X. When I press Ctrl X, cuts it out. Then I want to refresh. It has to be a bit thick. Yeah, so you can see it's now thick. Yeah, so that's how the B tag operates. So I won't remove that since we don't need it there. Okay. Yeah, then we also have underlining the text. If you want to underline your text, use the U tag. Okay, underlining the text. So shall say underlining. To underline the text, we shall use the U tag. Press U, tab. Then you say this text is underlined. Save that. Let's go back, refresh. You can see we have this. Okay. Maybe before I proceed, if you want to take this line to the next line, you just use the break tag. We have the break tag. Press BR. The break tag. This is for taking your content to the next line. So you have to put it on the document that comes before this one, the latest. So when you go back and you refresh, you can see it is pushing it back down. Okay, this text is underlined, so you can see how it operates. Of course, the U tag, it will also work here if you use it here. Okay, when you press here U, and then you close that, and then here you copy that, and then you paste that around here to underline the text. So it will simply underline that here. So it works. So we have looked at a lot of stuff. This is the break tag. Then we also have, if you want to make your text italic. Okay, now to avoid typing any more content down here, for italic you'll have to use the I tag. The I, I'll open that, and then I close that. Of course, you can see it's appearing like this. Now italic, you all know how it is going to appear at the end of the day. The letter will appear as if it's what? Slanting, the italic tag. So when I refresh, you can see it is slanting a bit. It has changed. Okay, so it's supposed to do like that. So we have looked at a lot of stuff. Yeah, so then I think we are going to look at something else. Those are just some of the basics, and we need to know. So what we have briefly looked at, these are what we call some of the HTML tags. Okay, so what you need to also know is that an HTML element is defined by a start tag, then you place some content, and then add an end tag. So we also need to look at what we call links. Okay, I think I'll scroll back up here. We have what we call links, the links in HTML. So the ones that will help us navigate and go to other pages. When you click home page, it takes you to this page. Click about page, contact page. I've seen that on different websites. So you're going to do that as well. So I'll do this, and I'll type here links. So links are what you need to know first of all about links. First of all, the unvisited link, most of the times it will be underlined as blue. Maybe before I explain this, let's first write it down. So they're defined by the A tag, the links, hyperreference. Okay, but mostly with the A tag. So I'll press A, then you press tab to appear, and let's type index.html. So why we are typing this? Because it's the name of our what? File that we have created. Let's call this the home page. Now, of course, we need to have other pages for this to work properly. So what we are going to do, I want to create more files before we proceed. So let's come here, click new file. Let's call this about.html. Okay, then we need to have another file. So we shall call it contact.html. Okay, so of course we need to have the same content on all those pages. So if you want to copy all the content that is here, I think before copying the content, let me finish up with the links, the HTML links. So I'm going to press Ctrl C even without highlighting. Then I press Ctrl Enter. You see, we go to the next line. Paste. After pasting that, we are going to change this to about.html. About, you press tab, it's already there. Then Ctrl backspace. If you press Ctrl backspace, it's to avoid going back like this, deleting one digit, one letter, alphabet at a time. You can just simply press Ctrl backspace. It removes at once, and then let's type contact. So before then finishing it up, remember you created your file. It's here, so you just press tab, paste that. When you go back to our browser, you refresh. Okay, we have, they're all called home. Yeah, I've seen why. So call this the about page, then contact. contact page. So let's refresh. When you refresh, you can see we have this. Now people are wondering how come it's not working. Now it is working, but we need to place content on the other pages. You can see the other pages are what? Files are empty. So I'm going to press Ctrl A. When you press Ctrl A, it highlights the entire documentation that you have on this page. Then you press Ctrl C, and we are going to just paste that. Of course, we are going to make some changes. Ctrl V, you paste that. Now when I save that, we need to make sure that make some changes. Now remember, I had commented out the headings. So on this page, I'm going to remove the comment on the headings, and then I'll comment on the paragraphs so that you guys can see that these things are actually working. And there's a link. So I comment also that out, save that. Then we also have the contact page. For it, I'll comment this out. I'll comment the paragraphs out. Then we shall remain with this content here, such that you can see that everything is working as it's supposed to work. So when I refresh that, you go back here. We are now in the about page. Then we have contact page. So you can see there is a link. So the about page, we have the heading. Here we have paragraph. Here we have this. So we are going through other pages, as you can see. Yeah. So that is how things are. That is how they are. So I think we need to proceed from there. Yeah. So what else? What should we do? Yeah, then we also have what we call images, HTML images. We need to know how to place images within our work. So I'm going to place an image on the home page. So the images are defined with the img tag. So basically what we are going to do, we need to place an image somewhere. Let's go to where we have our paragraph here. So we shall say img tag, okay, tab. So of course we have something here that we need to know. The source src, this one specifies the path to the image, okay. Then we also have the alt. The alt, it specifies the alternate text for the image, okay. Specifies the alternate text of the image. You can even see before, when I proceed, they are showing it to us. This attribute defines an alternative text description of the image. Okay, when you come here, they're saying this is the image URL. The attribute is mandatory for the image element. It's treated like a candidate image with pixel. Okay, now what they are trying to say here, we need to first insert our image for this to work. So let's go back to our desktop here. Look for any image that you see on the screen. I see this one called building. I'll copy that. We'll go back to our, so get any image, place it within your folder that has website. Right click, then you paste your image. Okay, now you can see our image is now here in the browser. Okay, because we have put it within our document. Now our image is called building. So we need to type it like that. So we shall say building. Before, when you finish typing it, you press tab. Okay. Now this is a JPG file. A JPG file. We have types of files. We have PNG, JPG. Okay. Yeah. So you have to take note of the name of the file. If you place here wrong name of the file, that means it's not going to display anything. So when I press Ctrl S and then I save that, refresh the page, we go to the home page. Yes, we have our image here. Okay, I know it's very large, but this is what you need to know for now. About reducing the size, we shall look at that later on. Not now, but that is how our image is looking like. Okay, so let us get to, we are done with the image. We need to, maybe before I proceed, before I go and look at something else, you need to know that sometimes you may have your images in your folder. Okay, let's right click here. Let's create a folder here within our website. Let's call the folder images. Okay, to have more organized content, you need to do this. So let's cut that out, paste it here within our folder. Okay, so when we go back to our text editor, it has vanished, but then we have a new folder. So what we are going to do, when you go back and refresh, the image will disappear. It's no longer reading the image. Why? It's because it's within another folder. Now, if you want this image to come back as it was, this is what you need to do if you have a subfolder. Okay, so remember what we did at the beginning when we included the name of the image here. We also have to include the name of the folder within our source. Okay, so I will simply say that slash. This slash means you are telling the text editor that you are open this folder. Okay, open the folder called images. Before, when you are done with typing it, it will appear on the screen. Press tab. So then you press tab again. We have building here. So what it has actually done, when you press this slash, it means open the folder. You are telling the text editor to open the folder. You find the folder called images, which is here. Then within that folder, we also have what we call an image called building. Okay, so of course you have to save this. You go back, you refresh. Okay, it's not working. Why is it like that? Why is it fading? It's supposed to work. Okay, I think there is a problem with the image is called building JPG file. Why isn't it working? Let me try to refresh this thing again. I have no idea why it's not working, but it's supposed to work. This is supposed to work as this is how it's supposed to be written. Why isn't it working? Images, enable images, building. Yes, building. Yeah, I've recently saved the file. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so but it's supposed to work. Let me try to insert another image here. We'll see what's going on. Let me get this, copy that, then we paste it here. Refresh. We have this as well. So I want to copy this. Go to the next line. Let's see what's going on. And yeah, so it's also not working. What's going on? Maybe if it wants I type from scratch, I don't know. Let's type images, then it says stroke e-learning. So okay, seems like we are stuck with this. that maybe what we are going to do, let us first brush this off. We are going to first see I'll look for a way how we are going to do it. So this is a bit disappointing. I'll go back and do that. Let me just remove the folder. Okay, move the folder such that we have our images. So we have wasted a lot of time on them, but these are the images. Yes, yeah. So it's a bit frustrating why they were not working. I have no idea why they were not working. So, but you can see here they are disorganized. That's why I wanted them to be in a folder, and I have no reason as to why it's not they're not working. Okay, so I think we are going to proceed. Okay, so we're going to proceed with that. Let's go to what we call lists. Okay, we also have what we call lists, but the lists shall look at them in another video, since we have wasted a lot of time on this. And yeah, that is all for now. Okay, so in the last video we were stuck at this point. Yeah, but it looks like we can't just stop at that. We can't just stop at that and say that is it. First of all, our text editor, this doesn't look good, doesn't look a bit organized. Look at it on the screen. So we are going to go back and fight with it. So let's create this folder once again. I just have no idea as to why it is not working, but I realized let's go at it again. So I'll call it images. Then I'll paste this content here. We head back. So I'll call this images. Okay, maybe before that we have to put a slash for the images folder, and of course we have building. Then we also have slash again for images space tab. Then we have e-learning. So let's try to refresh and we see. You see, it has vanished. It's not working. It's where we were. So I think let us try to change the name of the folder. We want to rename this. Let me call it IMG. I think it may ring a bell and it, but it's supposed to work either way. So I just don't know why it wasn't working as supposed to work. So IMG, save that. Still not working. So this is really funny. So let me try it again. So I'll put the slash IMG slash, you call this building. Save that. It's not working. Let me type. Now remember I told you this alt, it means the name of the what? Alt, what it means, it specifies the alternate text for the image. So I'll press here tab, and then remember this is the name of the image. So I'm going to save this. We have things popping up, or we have some progress now. Yeah, so let's go back and see whether we can finish this off now smoothly. Yeah, I'm going to remove this once again. IMG tab building. Save that. Yes, it's now working. I don't know, it took me this far. This is weird. So I think we had to hold on. Oh, now I know why it wasn't working. I know why. I know why. It's not because of this, but I made a mistake. You can leave the folder as it is. You can even remove this information here. There's no need for that. I've seen now where the problem came in. I've seen where it came in. Yeah, so I had to just remove this. This was a problem. So I'm going to change, of course, the name of the file, images, but you may even leave it as img. This will also work definitely. It now has to work. So we have to go back, rename this. I'll show where the error was, why it wasn't working. So yeah, I think we are good. When we go back and refresh, they are all working. Now, the reason as to why it wasn't working at first, it's because we had placed a slash here, which wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, that's why it wasn't working. So this was not supposed to be there. This is already the folder images. Now when we say slash, it means you're opening something. Now this slash is showing that you have the images folder with you within the text editor, but now you're trying to open it. When you try to open it, we have some images here. Now this slash represents opening, so I was not supposed to place it here. That's why when I place it like this and I save and I refresh, you realize the building will disappear, the image. So when I move it there, then I go back, it will be working. So that's the problem it had. Yeah, so I think we proceed. So we also have lists. So of course we have placed the images here. I want to carry one of the images. I place them in one of the Control S. I think let me place in contact. Yeah, save that. So shall have only one image here. This will do. The contact area, we also have a list one. Yeah, I know they're very big. So the lists, we shall place them in the about page, or should we place them somewhere else? Let me see. Home page. Yeah, let's place in the about page above the text. So if you are doing that, that means I want to comment this out, and then the contact page, I think we shall have some more extra information there. Contact page. Yeah, so I'll comment this out, and then this will go. Contact page, we have some information there. Yeah, so about page, we shall work with lists. So we have what we call lists. Okay, lists, but of course we have types of lists. We have the unordered lists. Okay, we have the unordered lists. So we are going to see what they are. So first of all, the unordered lists, we shall use the UL tag for unordered lists. UL, you press tab, and then you press enter. Then we shall say li. Okay, we shall have to put some content there. So I'll press enter. I paste. Let's have like only 3 items. Now there is something I need to show you guys before I proceed. Maybe if you want to, is what we call, if you want to type something simple, but anyway, I'll show it to you later on. Coffee. Then we have tea. Now this is what I wanted to show you. Let me type it here. Now in this text editor, you can have some, to avoid wasting time. Let's say you're just practicing this stuff, or you're learning them. Instead of typing coffee, tea, this is just to show that the content is working. Let's say you may just say lorem. You need only like 5 words. So you press tab. You see what it has done. Lorem 5. Even if you say lorem only, if you say lorem alone and you press tab, it will bring like a paragraph, which we don't want. So I want something simple. I think I'll say lorem 3 tab. So we have some simple information here. Save. We go to the about page. Now for unordered lists, you can see that they'll have these dots. unordered lists. I think let me type somewhere here. Let's have like a heading 1. Let's call it unordered lists. Unordered lists. I think, yeah, save that. So the unordered lists, unordered, that's how they look like. Out of I think let me make this H3. It's too big. Yeah. So unordered lists look like this. Then for the ordered lists, I'm going to just copy this, then I paste it down there, and then we are going to make some changes. Now for the ordered lists, for them they start with the OL tag, OL. So instead of UL ordered, you say OL. Then this will also be the OL, ordered. So ordered list, you'll see a huge difference when I refresh that, and you can see there are numbers. We have numbers instead of dots, the ordered list. So you have coffee, this and that. Yeah, so yeah, that is it for now. So now we're done with lists. We need to look at something else. Let me see, what have I left out? Is there anything I've left out? Yes, but now that is it. Okay, maybe I know some people may we have seen images. What of videos? Yes, videos is also possible. You can place a video within your website. So for videos, we shall have to use we shall have to insert our video here. So maybe before I proceed, let me look for one video. Okay, I'm saying one. I think this is kind of long. We'll get something simple. Yeah, this will work. Anything, I have my tutorials here. So let me get this guy. Get this video here. You can place any video here. Yeah, but let me change the name of the video. Just call it video. Let me call it videos. Okay. Yeah, so we have our videos here. So what we are going to do, I think the video will be, just place it in there. Where will it look nice from? Yeah, we are done. Contact. Since the images here, the about will have more. It will also have the video. So for the video, we shall say for videos, we shall say now, shall use the video tab so you can see. So we shall say I think we need to, let's go ahead. Name of the video, it's called videos.mp4. Save that. Let's try to check and see whether there is a change. Nothing is going on. Okay, I think I've messed it up a bit. First move that, yes. So press enter. So what we are going to do, we need to place some controls for the video to actually work. So we shall say here, we shall also have to measure the width. So let's place the width of the video. Let's say it will be 320. We don't want it covering the whole screen. Then the height, say the height of the video, we need it to be like around 240, yeah. Controls, of course, we need to place them there as well. the controls of the video. Yeah, then down here we shall say source. For the source we shall say we have src. Then we put the name of the video here, videos.mp4. Okay, so then of course we need to have the type. The type of video, it is it's an mp4. The type of video, it is mp4. Okay, then let's save that and we'll see whether there is some progress. Refresh that. No progress at all. There's no single oh, wait a minute, we are in the contact. The progress is there. It's already there. It's already there. So I think there's no point of you have to place it here, I think. Save that. Okay, so we're going to place here our content. So let me try to place it below this. Okay, this is bad. I think we need to place back our content here. Yeah, so anyway we leave it at the contact page. Leave it on the contact page. So this is how it will operate. Yeah, so this is how it is. Yeah, so we're done with that. So then we have to look at something else very fast. So we looked at the video. We need to look at something else. We also have what we call tables. We also have what we call tables. So for the tables, we are going to now these tables, what they normally help developers with, they help in allow web developers to arrange data in rows and columns. That is what they help them to do. So we want to arrange our data that we are going to display on the screen in our website. So the next thing we are going to do is so tables, I think tables, I'll place them here. So I'll say, okay, the index will get to tables this time round. So I need to have let me use H2 tables. Let's go to the home page. We have it here. So below that, we are going to have a table tag. Press enter. Then table tag, we shall have a table row. Do that. Then we have a table heading. Do that as well. So we shall say company. So I want to just go to the next line. Then we have another. These are table headings. ATH, the table heading. Shall say contact. Then we have another table heading. This one shall say country. When I save that, let's see. Yeah, we have that so far in place. So we need to have something else. We need to have the table data. So table row. Then we need to have table data. TD, shall say TD. Table data we could have, let's say, the country, the company, let's say it's called, let's say it is called, that is company. Okay. Yes, that's the table that we have. Then the contact may have my contact. Let's say this is my contact. So, okay, just assuming. Then we have TD. The country. Of course, this is my country. So, save that. We can have a look. Yes, we have this. But you realize one thing is that we don't have the rows, because we have said these are tables. We only have now the table heading. We have the table data. We need to separate this. So you don't want to look at this, but let us look at it. We have this one. We shall look at it later on, but we have also what we call to put there the lines. We shall use style to place there the lines. Of course, this one we shall look at it when we are talking about CSS, but I'm bringing it up because it's going to help us to put the lines there. So the name of the table, shall say table, then we shall press a comma, table heading, comma, then the table data, open brackets. So we may say something like what's wrong? Oh, okay, you're not supposed to use this within the table body tag. You're not supposed to use within the body tag. I'll copy that out. Let's place it in the HTML outside the body. Say the same thing. Style. Know what could be the problem? Okay, maybe before doing this, put there the lines. We are going to first put some space. So I'll say we have what we call inline CSS. It's what we are using here. So width, I'll say 100%. Or you could say 100 pixels, but let's say percent. Save that. We need to put some space. Okay, this is too much, but this is for the entire table. So outside the body tag, we are supposed to place this. So style, ending that. So we shall say it will have a border. Let's say 1 pixel. Solid. We have something solid, then black. Black will do. Close that. Save. Let's go back. Yes, we have our table here now. This is not a bit realistic. So this is what we call CSS. It helps us to. We shall look at this later on. I've just brought it up so that we have our table here on display. So you can see table data, table headings, they are thick, so I use the th down here. Then for the table data, it's not that thick, but the information is there as well. So even if you want to add more information, the only thing you'll need to do, you'll have to just copy this. If you want to place there more information, then you paste there. Let's say it's another company. Okay, it's the figures, the number changes to something else, some country. So when I refresh this, you can see we have more information appearing here after refreshing it. Okay, so yeah, so those are the tables, and then we have also the form tag. Now the form tag, I think we are basically going to use it in the place where we had the contact page, because we are going to place where people can send you messages when you have created your website. So we shall go to the body tag and then we place our information there. So what we shall do, let's give this a heading. I think in the contact, let's give it like where do we have heading 1, and let's call it contact details. Contact details. So I'm going to comment the rest out such that we have something better. We don't need to see this again. So I think let me cut this out, let it go down here. So we have contact details. Refresh this. Here we have that. So we are going to start with the form tag. Now the form tag is used to import information. Okay, so shall look at that. Shall press form, press tab. So it will say form action. Yeah, so shall just go down, and then we shall say we need to have something like a label. Okay, label for what? So we shall have name. Save that and see what's there. That's why we have that name. Then we shall have to use the input tag, input text. So the text, so we shall say text name. So simply type here name. Then we shall say may have here ID as well. ID, the identity. And then we shall say we need value as well. Let's say Mary. So we need to use the breakpoint as well. We need to break this down. Yeah, so we need to just break that down. Just need to copy this. We do have two breaking points, so we're going to do the same with the rest. So I'm going to just copy this. Paste that. Now when you paste that, you're going to change this to, I think, let's type here number. This one should be, let's give it a name. Let's say F name, first name. write it in short. First name here, first name. Sorry. Yes, ID, first name. So we shall say number. Of course, it will be a phone because we expect only numbers to come in this text. Okay, so we shall say instead of saying text, we shall say here number. Then the name is the phone. So the ID is number again. So this time around we won't have a value. So just simply close that. Yeah, save that. Let's have a look. Refresh. Yes, we have something now. Now when I type the value, I already put something there to start with. If I remove this, you can type anything there. Let's refresh that. So you can type anything there. So now I zoom in a bit. These are contact details. And this will not allow text, to allow only numbers. So you can see it's working. Okay, so it won't allow any bit of text. When I type any text, nothing's working. So then we need to place there another label for email. So I'm going to just copy this again. Then I'm going to paste this here. So label for email. So I'll say email. So we need to also have email. The type, of course, email. Now maybe we shall add something else. I shall say we need to place here something like a placeholder. Placeholder, you'll see what it does. Let's call it enter mail. Enter email. Enter email. So call this email. Then we shall remove this. Type required. Save that. When I refresh, now the placeholder will place for this to replace this word enter email. The placeholder. Okay, if you remove it, it won't work. Enter email. That's why we used it here. Placeholder, enter email. It brought this text that looks a bit faint, but of course when you type something, it will disappear. If there's nothing there, that's what it will display. That's the work of the placeholder. So we need to place a button here. So we need to have a submit button. Submit button. So we shall say input. Then we shall say we type submit. Submit. Then we shall say value. Submit. Let me refresh this. Yes, so you see we have our button. Okay, saying please fill out this field. So even if you fill it in, the button won't work because we are looking at front end. I forgot to mention this, but This is the front end, it's not the back end. Back end is when we shall look at how we can make this button actually work. But in the meantime, this is how you create that button. This is how it look like, the submit button. Yeah, so then finally, we also need to look at the footer tag. The footer. Now the footer is what you have seen. Most websites have something down here when it says something like copyright, okay, for the footer. So you are going to place the footer on all pages, and for it will, of course, it will remain in the body tag. We shall have it there. So on the contact page, we want to type, we're going to have our footer there. So let me say paragraph, and we shall say, let's say it's a hotel, we shall say hotel, then and copy, okay, and 2022, place the comma, all rights reserved. Save that. Let's have a look. Refresh. It's here. So you can see it is now having like a C. It's because of this. It's because of this. That's why it is having this here. So you can copy and paste the same content on other pages. So paste to save, paste, then you refresh. So it is everywhere now. So refreshing, it will appear everywhere. We have this. All right, reserved. So maybe we shall now look at CSS later on. Since we are now done with HTML, we shall also look at what we call CSS. Okay, so we have also the CSS selectors. CSS selectors, we have cascading style sheets. In full, it's called cascading style sheets. Now, what this one will help us do, let's say you want to arrange your work. Remember, we had a scenario whereby we have the images here, but then they are very huge. Now, when we are designing our website, we need to compress and see where we can place our images, isn't it? So putting that aside, it can also help us place this video somewhere. Instead of having it at the very top of the page, then we also reduce the size of this image so that we can create room for more images, okay, and even for it to look so nice. But before we look at that or anything else, there is something I would want to introduce as well that will also help us in this area. So when you look at CSS in full, it is cascading style sheets. But now we need to create, we have types of CSS. We have the inline CSS. Now for the inline CSS, some of you have, if you have noticed, we have already implemented it in some cases when we are creating our table, creating rows for the table here. Here we are trying to increase the space. Then we have the internal CSS. Internal CSS, it's within the HTML documentation, but it will be outside the body tag, the internal CSS. So we have inline CSS within, we have internal CSS, and then finally we have what we call the external CSS. So for the external CSS, we shall need to create an outside file, and then we link it with the .html extensions here. So that means we shall create a file that will have .css extension on its own. But before we look at that, let us look at what we call colors. If you want to place a color, let's say it could be even a background color, but let us first start off with this text here where we have contact. Let's say you want to color that. So on the contact page, let us go to this heading here. Now for inline CSS, this is how it works. When you place in the H1 tag, let's increase the space here. So we have to use the style tag. You press tab. Then of course, when you press tab, we have to place something there. So let's say you want to color that, you shall say color. Then of course, we shall say, let's say red. Save that. So let me comment this. This is inline CSS. Inline CSS. So for inline, I've said it's within the tags, the inline CSS. You can do it from here. So when you save that, and then we go back to our website, you refresh, you can see it's now red in color, the text. That is how inline CSS works. But if you want the same thing to work again without doing this, I'm going to copy this and I'll paste it here. So I'm going to comment this out. When I comment that out, we are going to get rid of this. Yeah, such that we have our same. Now we need to produce the same results. Okay. Now it has gone back to dark. So we are going to now use internal CSS within the HTML documentation, but we are going to have it outside the body tag. So we shall type here style. Type here style. So we need to have the style tag. Press enter. We are going to produce the same results. So for this one, for the internal CSS, we shall say H1. Okay. H1 tag. Then you open curly brackets. You press enter. Type here color. Press tab. Color what? Red. Save that. Now this one for it, it's let me comment this. This is internal CSS. Internal CSS. So why I'm saying H1, simply because we need this tag such that it informs the system that we actually want to change the color of the heading contact details to what? To red. Okay. So you make sure you save that. Then when I refresh the page, it's doing the same thing, same results. Okay. Now that is, we have looked at two ways of how to use the CSS. We have looked at inline CSS within the H1 tag. Then also outside the body tag, we have what we call the internal CSS. But then also, remember I've told you, we also have what we call the external CSS, and that is the most commonly used one by most programmers today because it simply keeps your code clean. Okay, we don't need to have a code that is not organized, because we can have a lot of content here, but when you give your code to someone else to make a review or to make some changes, it may be a bit more complex. Okay, not that he or she can't do it, but it can be a bit more complex. The work has to be organized. It has to be clean. We call it cleaning the what? Clean code. So I'm going to comment this out. Okay. So we need to produce again the same results, but this time around we are going to use external CSS for it to work. Now we are going to create a separate file, and for it we are going to call it a style.css. Style.css. This is how it will look like. So it is empty, but we need to establish what we call a connection to all other pages for it to work. So when I go to the contact page, we are going to place this in the head tag. So maybe type link, press tab. Now it will bring this link. It is telling us link the style sheets. Now we need to reference and say which files are we trying to link. Now we are going to see this document here, that the file we have created. You shall type the name of the file here. You shall say style.css to establish the connection. So you save that. Make sure you paste all this on the other documents if you want it to have the same effect. But as per now, before pasting it there, we are going to do what? We are going to concentrate on this page alone. So we need to make this look reddish in color. So we shall go back and then look at our heading. It is here H1. So we shall say H1, open curly brackets, let's say color red, tab, then we shall say red. You save that. When you save that, we go back, refresh, it is working. So with this you can this is what we call external CSS. Okay, external CSS. So for it we shall have to external CSS. It's not within our document, but it's done separately. That is how, these are the types of CSS I wanted to talk about. So maybe we can proceed since we have looked at that. But what if you want to place a background color? Background color, let's say you want to make it gray. So we shall say in the body tag, this time around we shall say body. Because we want the entire body to have the color. So we shall say body. Now why I'm saying that is because this page, this is what we call the body. The body tag starts from here, whatever information that is here up to the very bottom, the color will cover this space. So that's why we are using the body tag here. So we shall say body background color. Let's say you want it to be, let me use this one here, but of course let's say gray. So you save that. Let's go and check it out and we see. Refresh, so you can see now it's gray. So what if you want to change the text color, the text to white, something a bit white? So you need to go back to the contact page, establish the connection from there. So white, we shall say, now here we shall use label, okay, to represent our text. So we shall say label, so you want it to be white. So the color of the text, let's say you want it to be white, so you will say white. So when you refresh this, you can see it is changing to what? To white. So you have to first of all establish that connection. Okay, then you represent it in CSS here, and it will take care of the rest, because you can see label is for this, for that. Okay, represent the email here. Then I know this hasn't changed. This one here. Why this one hasn't changed? You have to go back and check. Now this one is the bold tag. The B tag. The B tag, it has bolding text. So I shall type here B. Open curly brackets, then we shall say color. Of course, it's the same color that we want, so I'm going to just simply copy this. I'll just paste that. So when I go back, refresh, you can see now it is what? White. So that is how CSS works, and that is how you're supposed to arrange your content. So we need to look at something else. We have, so we have looked at the text color, okay, because we have done it in CSS, the text coloring, whereby the color of the text has been changed. So maybe there's something I haven't looked at, but if you want to place your text, increase the font size of the text. Now let's say you want to increase the font size of this one here. Now let's go to contact. Contact has H1 for contact, so it is the details. So shall say the font size. Select font size. Font size, let's say you want it to be something like 70 pixels. Now you may say pixels or you may say percentage to increase the size. Okay, px stands for pixels. You may also say percentage. So now refresh that, you can see how big it has increased. Now let's say you want to place it at the center. Placing it at the center, shall say something like text align center. To place it at the center, you refresh that, you can see it's now at the center. So this is how guys have been creating websites, and this is just a brief introduction on how you can align your text. So maybe one more, something else to look at that is very, very important. We have what we call an ID attribute, and we also have what we call the class attribute. Now if you hear of ID attribute, if you hear of the word ID, just note it's a unique identifier. Okay, now what we are going to use it for, it is specify a unique ID for an HTML element. Okay, so that means you cannot have more than one element with the same ID in an HTML document. You also know that. So what we are going to do now, let's say instead of having this in the h1 tag, let's say we want to create an ID is equal to, let's call it something like my header. Now what I'm typing here, you may type anything that you want. Okay, you may even call it container if you want, anything that you feel like, use any name. Okay, let me use container instead, and then yeah, this is my ID. Now for the ID attribute, this is how it's represented in CSS. So I want to comment this out. Now of course you can see it's throwing for us an error here, but it will be represented in the CSS file as a hash. So you'll say hash, then the name of the ID, which is called container. Okay, so now instead of typing here h1, okay, instead of typing h1, we shall type here container to represent h1. Okay, represent h1. Now when I refresh, you'll see there's no difference. Now I know you could say, why are we using this? Why can't we? The first one was simpler. First of all, you may have more than one h1 in your document. Let me show you something here. If I copy this and I paste that, then I get rid of this. Okay, I get rid of this ID. we have two contact details, and all of them have H1. Now what if I want to change the color of this one? What I'll do, I'll come and simply say H1, open that, let's give it another color, let's give it white. Let's give it white. I think white will work. Yeah. Now we are going to see the difference and why it's very important to have the ID attribute as well. You see, all of them have H1, isn't it? H1. But you're going to see a huge difference now. When I go back and refresh, it brings it as white, and it's not at the center. So that's the importance. So you can see it can allow you to separate your work. Okay, you can simply allow it to separate your work. So if you want it at the center, you just have to copy this, you paste it in the H1 area, then you go back, refresh, it will come at the center. But you can see they're the same things, they have H1 together, but this is just a unique identifier, so it will allow you to arrange your work. But this one works well when you have a lot of paragraphs and you need to make changes. Okay, you have a lot of paragraphs, you need to make changes, so the unique identifier will help you to make those changes. Then we also have what we call the class attribute. Now for the class attribute, for it is represented as a dot. Okay, now maybe before I proceed, you have to be careful with the way you have written your ID attribute. If you write here with a small letter and you save that, you'll see it not working. Okay, it will leave it as it is, white in color. Why? Simply because you have not written it as it was written. Now if you are making it small, make sure it is also small here, but if it's big, make sure it is also big. Hope it's clear. So when I refresh that again, it will separate itself from this one. Now for the class attribute, for it is represented with a dot. Okay, so let's say you have now for class attributes you can have more than one class. That's the amazing thing with it. So let's call this class instead. Class, let's call it let's call it header. So when you refresh again, you'll see that it's not working. Okay, it's working, but when I say header, it will work the same way. So I'll put the dot, then you type here header. Now for class attributes, for them they are represented like that. So it will be the same thing. Refresh, nothing will change. So why it's good to have classes? This is why. When I copy this and I paste that, we have these classes here. So let me change this to something else. Let's say head. Let me call this footer. Now you can have different colors for all these. So you can see, and let me call this head. So I'll say the class, it will be head. Let's say you want to have different colors. Let me align this here, copy paste, but the color is going to change to see a difference. So let's say you want this to be green yellow. Save that. Then we also have dot foot. So we shall have different headings but with different colors. So when I paste that, this one will be call it dark golden road. We have different colors. So when I go back and refresh, are you seeing this? Let me zoom out. So you can see we have all these are in the h1 tag, but they are different simply because we have specified them. So you can see the class header, class head, class foot, yet all of them have h1. Now if you use h1 alone, the disadvantage with it is that if you want to change, let's say you want to arrange this heading in this direction, this one in this direction, it won't be possible. So let's say you want to put the rest of this content here, there on this side. So text align, so what if I say left? Okay, so this one goes on the left side, then this one you may want it to be on the right side. So that is the importance of having the class attributes and the ID attributes. The rest, there's no need of placing there the dot for the body tag. The rest, if you are putting there a hash, you have to have it as an ID attribute, and it has to be represented in only one section. For the class attribute, you can represent it as many times as you want in different sections. So basically, these are the basics of HTML and CSS that you should know before you go any further into this area. Maybe before that, if you want this to work for all pages, because you can see that I haven't navigated to other pages. When I go to other pages, they are still white, they are not gray. Why? We didn't establish the connection to other pages. Now you have to get this link in the contact page that you have placed. You copy that, you place it into the other pages, then you'll see it having the same background color. So when I refresh the pages now, you can see now they are gray. Okay, now you can even have different, each page can have its own color as well. Okay, each page can have their own color as well. The only issue is that now you'll have to go to the body tag, and then you create an ID there, a container, and then you separate them. Okay, let's say you want to have an ID here in the ID in the body tag, and then you want to call it my container. Okay, so when you call it like that, let's say you want to place your own color there, you'll go back, then you type the hash, say my container, open the brackets. So you want your own background color. Let's say you want it to be like this, aqua. So you need to confirm the spelling, yes. So when you refresh that, that's why it's very good to have or to know the ID attribute and the class attribute. So you can see, if you navigate to the other pages, we have different colors. If you go to the other pages, we have a variety of colors. So the same thing can go on with this page. You can also do the same thing here. You may say you have your own ID attribute, then let's say you call it like something that you can remember. It could even be your name. Let me call it name, anything. So that's my ID attribute for that area. So I'll just do the typing here again, then I'll say name to represent that. Then we shall say background color will be let's go with this one here and see how it looks like. Yeah, so when I refresh, you see that. So when you navigate through the other pages, we have different content, and we also have different colors. So basically what CSS does, it will beautify your work. Okay, right now mine doesn't look that organized, but this is what it does. It helps to arrange your content, and then basically you'll have a very good front end user interface that can easily attract the users to navigate through your website here. So basically that is it, and that is all I can say about HTML and CSS.
Wow!